Imagine going out for the day and then finding out that your house, God forbid, burned down and all your worldly possessions went down with it, and you couldn't find your birth certificate or your passport or your important documents for your home and for your health insurance and you know, all that stuff, right? Where do you start? How do you put it back together? What if you had to, like, under some sort of natural disaster, had to like get out of your house and get out of Dodge and get to a shelter or get to safety somewhere? What stuff would you bring? Yeah, you might need your bug out bag. Yeah, you might need some toiletries. But probably the thing that would be most important, above and beyond everything else, would be your information. What's up, warriors? It's Kyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training, here to share with you some warrior skills and drills that anyone can learn and everyone should know. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and thanks for stopping by. If you already follow us on social media, and that's how you found your way over to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. You can get all sorts of cool content from here as well. Today's topic is not the most romantic. It's not like, hey, you know, the zombies are coming and aliens are coming and you're going to get into your bug out vehicle with your go bag on your back and you're running for the, you know, the wilderness. And hey man, if that's part of your plan, have at it. Don't let me slow you down. Don't let me stop you. But the more common thing, like if you were displaced from your home, just think of like a natural disaster, right? And you know, if there was like a earthquake or a hurricane or some sort of, you know, whatever it is that like, oh my God, we got to get out of Dodge. And you're not fleeing for the wilderness. You're not fleeing for the mountains. Probably not, unless you have a spot to go to already mapped out and your plan is like next level planning. Cool. But for the average person that's just starting out with this stuff, and the people that I talk to when I do emergency preparedness talks and lectures and things of that nature, or even how I teach it in my martial arts school as part of the curriculum, the first part that we start with is like, hey, if there was like, God forbid, you showed up at your house and your house had caught fire and all of your stuff went up and your life is just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, what do you do? So your go bag went up in flames, or you can't get to your stuff. The house is condemned, and I've seen this happen in my community. I'm a police officer. I've seen it happen, you know, in my geographical area of employment, where hey, you just went out for the day and your house caught fire, and all of a sudden you're like, what do I do? Where do I start? Or if a bunch of people were displaced because of earthquake, blizzard, wildfires, whatever it is, where all of a sudden you grab like a handful of things and you got to get to a shelter and start to figure out how you're going to start putting the pieces back together. This is where you start. So aside from bug out bags, we'll have plenty of videos on that, and what you should and shouldn't have and that type of stuff, or what you think you should have and shouldn't have. This is like baseball. You hit the ball, you run to first base, right? So the first thing that you would need to make sure that you have with you, ready, is your information. Now, I don't just mean like, oh, I got my wallet, man, I'm good to go. I mean like, if all of your worldly possessions were gone and you needed to start from scratch, how prepared are you? And I'm telling you this because this is one of the things that I'm currently working on myself. I just refinanced my house, and if anybody out there that's ever gone for a mortgage or a big loan or something like that, where they want to see everything, man, they want to see everything. So one of the things that you got to make sure you have lined up is like all your personal documentation and driver's license, and we're going to cover the list right now. But the idea is, before you worry about bug out bags, unless that's a hobby for you, before you worry about like buying property that's, you know, that's where we're going to fall back to, and unless you got the money for that, even if you're doing all those things, start with this, because the likelihood or the chances are, God forbid, that's the emergency that you'd find yourself in, not the zombies are coming or whatever. Although you never know. So I'm big on prepare for everything, or the best you can. So I brought my notes with me and some cool stuff, because I didn't want to miss any parts of it. So in a nutshell, let's go over first what you would need. So just imagine like you were going for a mortgage or a refinance or a car loan, or anybody out there that's gone through the police academy. Oh my God, that was worse than getting a mortgage. Man, they wanted to know everything. They knew the answers to stuff before I told them the answers. They knew more stuff about me and my family and whatever than I did. I found out some interesting stuff when I went for my background investigation, stuff that they dug up that I didn't even know about. The point being is, how would you start over? So at the very least, just think of the things in your wallet. Like, think if you've ever lost your wallet and you had to like replace the items in your wallet, what a nuisance that could be, right? So in there you have your driver's license, you have your credit cards or credit card information, you probably have your social security card, or at least your social security number, you probably maybe have some of your bank account numbers or routing numbers or checking account numbers and stuff like that. You have your medical insurance card. Go through your wallet. That's like your first stop, because God forbid that gets stolen. You're like, oh my God, identity theft. Well, how do you recover your own identity if everything you own went up in flames or got, you know, tossed in a storm or a tornado or whatever? So some of the things on that list are starting with like who you are, right? So your birth certificate, your social security card, your driver's license, your non-driver's ID, your work ID, right? If you work at a hospital, or like my police ID, like I'm more scared of losing my police ID than I am scared of losing anything else. You get in a lot of trouble for that as a police officer. So all the things that would show somebody that you're you, right? That's one. Then, like, God forbid you needed a doctor, right? So like, well, where's my medical information? Where's like a list of my prescriptions? You know, what dosage and how often I take it and which doctor prescribed it to me and who's your doctor and who's your dentist and all those things. Man, you need to start to like organize that stuff, that in the event that you needed to like recall it or find that information, you're like, oh, well, it was in my kitchen drawer or my office drawer or the safe in my bedroom, but all that stuff's gone. I had to recover it. So other things like your insurance stuff, right? Like life insurance and home insurance, especially if you need to have your house rebuilt or any of those things. Title to your home, deed to your home, title to your vehicles. I go back to my list. Oh, your passports, right? I got that one. Social Security, any wills, like if you have a will, last will and testament type of stuff. And now, you don't want to like pack all this stuff into one place, like all the original documents, right? So if you were going to have something that you kept either in a safety deposit box at a bank, maybe like in your work locker or someplace other than your home, where maybe you had the originals at home and you had like copies or notarized copies or waterproof copies, maybe you laminated some of this stuff, or you had it in an envelope where, man, all right, I know where to go retrieve that stuff so that I could bring it with me. And in this day and age, the technology that we have, I mean, you could put it in the cloud. I'm always I'm bad like that because I'm kind of old school. I'm like, well, how if somebody else figures out how to get into my cloud and goes and takes my stuff? But anyway, I guess I would talk to somebody who's more computer savvy than I am on how to do that. But even emailing stuff like that to yourself, where you could retrieve like the copies from your email from wherever. Having it in your phone is great. Like I have a thing that I have for my police job. I have like, I don't know, 20 passwords for different databases and things that I need to access, and I can't remember all that stuff. So I have it in an app in my phone that stores all my stuff, and it's just my work passwords because that's where I need to remember it. But you could use that same type of mentality to store your important information, where it's something retrievable either from your phone or that you could log into from a computer or somebody else's phone anywhere, anytime. So aside from your information, you got to make sure you have like your family's information, right? So if all of you were displaced, so this is where my wife is the rock star. If somebody asked me, I wouldn't know the answers. I'd be like, babe, what's the baby's, you know, social security number or whatever? And she's Johnny on the spot with that stuff. But having like all of your information, like so mine, my wife's, my kids, my dog, my you know, his vet, what, you know, vaccines has he had, when did he have those vaccines, and basically all the information that you would need to start over. Knowing your bank information and your credit card information and like your mortgage information, that's all important stuff, especially things that are like, life will go on, you'll get your stuff back together, you will get your life back together, but in the meantime, you're going to have bills that are due. What's up, buddy? You're going to have bills that are due, right? So, oh my God, what's the routing number for the bank? What's our checking account number? And oh man, when is the mortgage payment due, or the student loan payment due, or the car payment due? And all those things that you like, a lot of things that are on autopilot for a lot of people. When you throw a wrench in the works, like some sort of natural disaster or some sort of catastrophic thing for you and your family, a lot of that stuff, like, oh my God, I totally forgot to. And I know it's happened to me when, you know, I remember my dad passing away, and all of a sudden, like, I was just, my head wasn't in the right place, and people were calling, hey, you're this and that thing is, you know, 30 days past due. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I wasn't even thinking about that stuff. So that's just losing a loved one. Imagine losing your house, or being displaced, or in the midst of chaos of everybody being displaced. So part of this thing is having a plan or a system that, while things are organized, while things are calm, while things are in front of you, start documenting day to day, week to week, month to month, which things are most important, and just kind of add it to your system so that, God forbid you had to, like, leave, you would have, or at least know where to find the information should you need it, to show who you are, where you're from, that you really are who you say you are, that you're not trying to steal somebody else's identity, or to prove, if somebody else was trying to steal your identity, that you are you. Again, I know this is not like, hey, I want to see the bunker in your backyard. I want to see, I don't have a bunker in my backyard. Or I want to see, you know, like the bug out vehicle, or where you're going to go, and what's in your go bag. And hey, man, all that stuff's a lot of fun, but what's more important than the fun is what's important. And that important stuff is being able to start again. All right, so let's review. First things first, if you had to get out of Dodge, or there was no way for you to get back into your house, and you were like, had to find a shelter or stay at somebody else's house and start figuring out, you know, insurance stuff and important documentation and all that stuff. So whether it's just you trying to figure out how to get past some sort of personal catastrophe for you and your family, or it's some sort of natural disaster that has a whole bunch of people displaced and trying to, like, start again together, the first thing that you're going to need is the information. The information that you're probably going to need is all the stuff that shows that you are you. So that's your driver's license, and your passport, and your birth certificate, and marriage certificate, and social security card, and all the basics, right? The next stuff you're going to need is your, like, your bank stuff, right? You're going to need, like, your bank accounts, your who you have to pay bills to every month, your accounts and your account numbers with them, and your checking and savings accounts, and however you pay that stuff. And now everything is pretty easy. You're not walking around with a checkbook, or at least most people aren't. And you have all your accounts payable information, all your accounts receivable information. Make sure that if you're getting a paycheck from your job, they're going to know where to say, like, oh man, I've never needed my paycheck like I need it right now. All of your insurance documentation, all your personal medical information, like stuff that, hey man, I know that I have these ailments, or I need these medications daily or weekly or monthly. This is the doctor that prescribed them. This is how often I get them. This is the pharmacy I go to get them from. And you just write all that stuff down. Any allergies and stuff, man, you put that all in the same spot. Then you're going to have, like, your like titles and deeds to your home, to your vehicles, your insurance information for your home and your vehicles, your insurance information for yourself, like medical insurance and that type of stuff. Now, where do you keep all of this, right? So obviously you want to have some sort of, like, hard copy. Ideally the originals are in a safe, some sort of fireproof safe at home, and if not, that's something you should get on. You're going to have some sort of secondary copy, like hard copy or notarized copy, or like, you know, just another set of them somewhere else, either with a trusted family member, a safety deposit box at the bank, and then thirdly is, like, the cloud, you know, being able to, like, either email the stuff to you or have some sort of secure thing. And there's apps out there and sites out there where you could pay for basically a safety deposit box in the cloud, and at least you know that you could retrieve that from anywhere on the globe at any time, from a computer or a phone or whatever. Having some sort of, like, maybe in your go bag, if you're going to have a go bag, and you should have some sort of go bag, which we'll discuss in later videos, but in that bag, you want, like, waterproof copies of your, again, photocopies, but something waterproof, laminated or something, so that, like, man, if there was a flood and you got your bag, at least you go into that bag and you're going to pull out a Ziploc bag with Ziploc bags with Ziploc bags, so that your most important stuff in there is dry and good to go. I know this is not the most exciting subject area, but it is really important. It's probably more important than most of the others, because it is the one that you are most likely, God forbid, to need. So before you start building the go bag, before you start, you know, assembling your arsenal of weapons and whatever else, hey, just get all your personal stuff in order and make sure that it's in a safe and secure place where you could retrieve it. God forbid you need it. Well, if you made it this far and you like what I'm teaching and preaching, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and like this video. If you're loving it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you gotta have it, make sure you hit the bell notification button so YouTube will let you know when the next video drops. If you're really digging it and you want more, you can find us on all social media platforms at 5 Elements Tactical. Well, that's all I got for now, warriors. So until our paths cross again, pray for the best, prepare for the rest. I'm Kiyoshi Dave Herman with 5 Elements Tactical Training. Thanks for watching.